Stress can affect every aspect of our lives. It's thought it can be behind around 3/4 of all GP appointments. So doctor and broadcaster Dr Rangan Chatterjee, I'm going to say you're a friend of the programme as well, because I feel you are. It's suggesting how we can deal with anxiety in your new book. Lovely to see you. Thank you very much. Look, as always, you have so much sensible things to say. So stress, you really see this at the front line, the kind of effects of it, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. The World Health Organization is saying that stress is the health epidemic of the 21st century, which is a pretty remarkable statement. And as you said, about 80% of what I see each day as a GP is in some way related to stress. Now, I see problems every day like anxiety, insomnia, poor concentration, poor memory, weight gain, low libido, gut problems like irritable bowel syndrome, even things like high blood pressure and type 2 diabetes. All of these seemingly separate problems actually at their root cause have stress as a key driver.
You can't avoid stress, can you? I mean, living in the world, you know, having a job, having children, you know, having parents to worry about, they are necessary. There are anxieties around just normal life. You can't avoid it.
You can't avoid it, and we don't want to avoid it. You know, a little bit of stress is good for us. It helps us perform. It turns us into the best version of ourselves. But the problem now is that it's not a little bit of stress, it's a lot of stress in high doses that we're getting day in, day out. Often even at the weekends as well, we're getting stressed out. And it's having a consequence because our stress response evolved in a very different area. You see, our stress response evolved to keep us safe from being attacked 2 million years ago. And what would happen then is that various things like sugar would pour into your blood so that you could run faster. Your blood pressure would go up so you'd get more oxygen to your brain. Your emotional part of your brain will go into high alert, so you were vigilant for all the threats around you. That's brilliant if you're trying to run away from a tiger. But if that's happening day in, day out, to your email inbox, to overload, conflicting demands, elderly parents you're looking at, you know, you're trying to look after, then those same responses in the long term become very, very harmful. And I've seen that in my practice, a few simple things that people can do that don't cost money, that don't take long, has a huge impact on their health, and that's what I've tried to outline in my book.
We'll come to the simple things in a minute. I just want you to explain something you talk about in the book, and you talk about micro-stress doses, and you go through somebody's day, and literally before she's been up for 10 minutes, she's had, I can't remember, 15 of these.
Yeah, I start the book with this because I think it's a really great way to connect with people, and we've all got our own personal stress threshold.
Right.
And we're all exposed to little micro doses of stress each day, so that could be you're waking up a bit late and your alarm goes off, micro-stress dose number 1. Then you pick up your phone and you say, oh, I've got 4 work emails, I didn't reply to them yesterday, micro-stress dose number 2. Then you spend 20 minutes on social media and someone has said something nasty about you, micro-stress dose number 3.
That could be 3, 4 and 5.
Before you know it, actually, and then you burn the toast and you can't actually eat before you leave the house. And so bit by bit, you're getting closer and closer to that threshold. And when you get there, that's when you get angry. That's when we overreact. We get emotional. That's when we start to have problems. So a lot of the approach that I outline with my patients, but also in my book, is how can we reduce the amount of micro-stress doses? And even if we can't, because Charlie, you make a good point there, actually, a lot of these stresses are going to be there. What things can we do to help build in resilience? And I know this stuff works because I use this stuff with my patients. I've been doing it for nearly 18 years, and I see a big result.
Breathing. How about that?
Breathing's fantastic. Breathing's one of the fastest ways to de-stress you. Apart from nature, actually, and we saw that picture with Matt, and Matt had this beautiful view around him. And actually being in nature is probably the perfect way to de-stress, even just 5 minutes a day. Even if you can't get out there, you can look at a picture. We know that lowers levels of the stress hormone cortisol just by looking at a picture of nature. But in terms of breathing, I use a lot of techniques with my patients to help them with anxiety and stress. My favorite one, actually, we could try it now if you want. It's called a 3-4-5 breath. You up for trying it?
God, how long does it take?
It's 5, 4, 3, 12 seconds.
I'm worried about the time.
Okay, you need to calm down, Charlie. We're going to help you do this. Okay. You breathe in for 3.
Yeah.
Hold for 4. And you breathe out for 5.
I feel like going to sleep.
Well, yeah, it does that. And if you do that 5 or 6 times, it only takes about a minute. But I use that technique with my patients in practice to help people with anxiety, depression when they're feeling stressed. Some people, before they've got meetings at work or before they've got, you know, things that they feel nervous about. Even some students, I've taught them this technique for exams.
You also talk about, and we've been talking today about screen time and this advice saying, about screen time. You talk very clearly in the book about sort of our relationships with our phones and how kind of integrated we are in them in a kind of stressful way in many ways.
Look, screens are a part of our life. Technology is fantastic on so many levels, but I see it causing a lot of problems as well, the overuse of technology. And I don't necessarily agree with some of the things I saw earlier on the show in terms of them not being harmful for children. You know, I've had a case a few years ago of a 16-year-old boy who came in to see me on a Monday afternoon. He'd been in A&E on the Saturday trying to harm himself, and he came in with his mother to see me. I had a letter there saying, you know, he was safe to discharge, but Dr. Chatterjee, can you start him on antidepressants? And this was quite a well-balanced family that I sort of knew, and I was confused as to why is this boy trying to harm himself. As I got to know him, I was getting concerned with how much he was using social media. So over the course of a few months, I helped him reduce how much he was using social media. He was very open to it. And within 6 months, he was completely transformed. I got a letter from his mother saying, look, Dr. Chatterjee, I want to thank you. The tips that you've taught him have changed his life.
So what do you think needs to be done here? Because, you know, anecdotal evidence, we've had lots of people getting in touch. Does there need to be proper research done around how it's not just affecting children, but affecting all of us?
There's no question. We need more research, but I think we can take a bit of a common sense approach in the meantime whilst we're waiting for that and use what we call the precautionary principle. Let's not assume they're safe until we've got more work. Until we've done more research. And I talked to a lot of my colleagues about this, and we all see that the increasing use of social media is causing problems, particularly with mental health in adolescents, but also in adults. I find it myself, if I spend too long on social media, I find myself getting a little bit, feeling a bit low about the world. And it's because of this whole idea called perfectionist presentation, that we present our best self to the world, not the bad parts of our day. And your brain is always responding to the information around it. So then you think that's normal. So you think, actually, my life is pretty bad compared to everyone else's. But there's loads of tips, honestly, on how you can reduce this in the book. So I hope it helps people.
Thank you.
I'm a big fan of taking pleasure in small things, you know,
Three,
a
four,
cup of coffee. Oh, lovely cup of coffee. Just
John,
little things, you know.
Can I just tell you, one of the tips I talk about is daily doses of pleasure.
Yes.
Because lots of us are too busy now to actually do things that we love. And 5 minutes of pleasure each day helps you become more resilient to stress.
See, I'm not even listening because I'm completely gone.
You're present, innit?
I'm just, nothing's made.
And the 3-4-5 breath has just got you totally relaxed.
Oh, it's really lovely to see you as always. Thank you very
you.
much indeed. And the book is called The Stress Solution. Lots of different ideas in there. Thank you.